I don't wanna waste a minute. Don't know when the plans swing it. If you got a glass, fill it. Cause I need it, money is a in it. I don't wanna think about it. So if you know the song, sing it. Cause I need it, take me to a place where the music's loud. I don't wanna think right now. Flashing lights running through the crowd. I don't ever wanna stop.
What's going on, everybody? We're down here at the Rack Studios. Me, Vince Bugs, down here in Tampa with my boy Mike G. And we're here. We got Chip Baker on and Mr. Jackson himself. You know, Mr. Jackson, how are you doing as well today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you guys for having me on.
All right, Mike G, how are you doing, man? What's going on, brother?
Man, I can't complain. Welcome back, Mr. Chip. Hello, Mr. Jackson. And that's how we do it. Let's go. We're back at it again. We took a deal, but then here we go. Now we're back. What's going on?
All right. So, Mr. Baker here, we're about to talk about the impact of influence, volume 8 that's coming out. And Chip's always, raising it to the next level on leadership, influence, and, those things that come with the pillars of leadership, of the different traits that we have to be good. And that's the influences from our past, influences in our present, and the influences of people that have gone before us. And with that being said, Chip, tell us a little bit about the impact of influence, my brother.
Yeah, so the impact of influence, it's a book series, and really it's comprised of some powerful influencers, people that are doing some amazing things to make a positive difference in our world. And so I'm truly grateful that all of these people have said yes, but we're releasing volume 8 coming soon. And again, like I said, it's comprised of powerful influencers that are sharing their stories of people and situations that have influenced them, what they've learned from it, and then how they're using that to be a blessing, positive difference in our world today. And so that's what the Impact of Influence series, as well as the Impact of Influence volume 8 is about.
Okay, so Mr. Jackson, how do you fit into this nested, intertwined influence world that Chip's building and he keeps creating as he goes forward?
Well, first I gotta say thank you to social media because, man, during COVID, I actually, everybody's doing podcasts and you spending a lot of time on social media, and I came across Chip, right? And man, I'm looking at his videos and they're inspiring, and then I noticed at some point he was having a book signing in Amarillo. And I had something to do, but I did type in to the chat that, hey, man, I wish I could attend. And it kind of kicked on the notification. So I noticed all my friends were friends with Chip. So my close friends, my text
homeboys.
Yeah. So then they started, I was like, how you know Chip? And they were and anyway, at some point, the ranch, the Cal Farley's invited Chip to come over be the baccalaureate speaker. And we got to chatting it up. After that, over lunch at Buffalo Wild Wings. That Monday morning, Chip sends me a message at 7:30 in the morning. And I was just coming back from my kennel. And I looked at the message, and it was about being a part of one of the authors of Volume 8 of Impact and Influence. I agreed. And one of the things I do is I train dogs. So after I was done training dogs in the evening, I'd get home about 9 o'clock. I'll grab something to eat real quick. And then I would shoot to my office and I work on this chapter. And man, it was an amazing experience. I'm a big on self-reflecting. I deep spiritual guy. And so it actually was a huge growth moment, and I didn't know how this worked. I didn't know what I submitted was going to be good enough, but I can tell you this much, right? The process that I went through to self-examine and explore my last 27 and a half years of working at Cal Farley's, my 30 years of being married, and my 49 and a half years of being on this earth, that was worth the experience, whether the chapter was accepted or not. So just on that, I appreciate Chip. I have grown even more. It was like this one piece that kind of pushed me over the edge of growth, even at my age right now. So even if you'd have came back and said, man, that chapter sucked, okay, I would have been so honored. The fact just being asked, one, and then just the whole journey that week of just walking through my life, my experiences, the things, my cherished beliefs, and my growth, man, all the stupid tax I paid because I'm a lone wolf. Hey, that was worth it. So amazing experience, and one, I'm honored to have been one of the authors.
Go ahead, Mike. What you got, Mike?
No, I was just saying, I mean, I'm falling into the middle because Vince just called me yesterday. But Chip, we've seen you progress, and it's like you blowing up, man. And then while we got Mr. Jackson here, so what's going on? Like, it's a new. Do you get inspired by every chapter you do, or by every person that reads the book? And how do you move forward with that?
No, I love how you said the magic word growth, right? And so, you know, the goal is to have continued growth in my life, right? Strive to be the best version of myself because, you know, it's bigger than me. It's not about me. You know, my goal is to have continued growth so that hopefully I can be of service and help others, right? And so, yes, I think it's been amazing growth. You know, where I'm from, where I grew up, small town in Texas, I didn't know anybody that wrote books, right? Like I interviewed a guy before. He said, "Man, I used to think people that own hardback books were rich, you know." And so, I mean, just just things like that. And so, yeah. And so, man, it's all been a great experience for me. You know, this will be like my 20th book. And so like, man, I'm just blown away for the opportunity to have it. And the big man is saw fit to put me around great people like you guys that I can have continued growth and learn. But I think the biggest thing that really inspires is one, just like I'm inspired by reading their stories, right? Like Adrian, like a lot of people that the authors in the book, I know their background stories and they inspire me. And so it's my honor to be able to help them share that with others because like they're doing great things, right? People need to hear those stories and hear their journeys, how they've overcome those triumphs and trials and tribulations because it's inspiring. And so that pushes me to work hard for them, to be of service, to strive to go above and beyond. And it gives me great pride to hear, you know, pride is not the exact word, but I'm grateful, like just to hear Adrian say, like, man, it's been a smooth process. You know, like, let's go. You know, like that, man, awesome. You know, just to hear that and just to be along the ride with some amazing people.
When you look back at it, and I reference leadership in my book that's going to be coming out, hopefully, I know will be coming out at the end of summer. What were some of the pivotal points of leadership that you touched? Like who impacted you or what situation, you know, because we all go through a paradigm shift when it comes to leadership. So what was one like critical thing, if you can keep it short, tell us what made you reflect and say, hey, this has got to be in my chapter.
Yeah, well, you know, it was a hard task because I've had a ton of people pour into me. And of course, you want to pay homage to all those people. And with 2,400 words, you can't.
You can't.
Right. But, you know, I can tell you my third point of leadership is being approachable. And that's something that my mom specifically, she guided us on and say, okay, you got to make people want to connect with you. You got to present your way. And so it really wasn't that much of a surprise when Chip reached out, because that has been the mantra of my whole life based on what my parents have taught me. So being approachable. One is as a leader, you want your people that's under you to be able to see you as somebody that's genuine, somebody that has the character, that has their best interests in mind, and that they can come and be in your space, right? In order to guide and lead people, they got to want to be in your space and in your world. And so my third point on that in the book is being approachable. And so I think that's a very thing is you got to, for you know, being a 6-foot black man, I got to work on my affect, my size, and the tone of my voice, right? And so I got to make people not fear me. I can't use my power or my position power to weld around and people to be fearful of that. I want them to see me as somebody they can reach out to, they can connect with, that they could actually be in the world with me. And I think that's an important piece.
So that's where I find it with the same thing. I'm 6'3". Okay, 260 pounds. It's weird because people look at us tall guys, they're like, hey, I'm a nice guy. What are you doing? What's going on?
Yeah.
So I understand, Mr. Jackson. You got to be presentable. You got to be nice and talk, and then to bring the people in to understand you, what you're trying to do. So I agree.
You know, as you guys, Chip, as you guys look through this, and you know, I talk about traits all the time, and then traits are a key part of leadership. So, Chip, have you evolved, and now you're moving into chapter 8 of this book, right? We look at what traits have you, or nuggets of information that have you moved towards now? Because in the book, if you look at your first book to now, you're a different person. So what was the back of the traits that you look forward to in this book you got coming out here soon? And by that, you got to give us the drop date also. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'll start the drop date. The drop date we're releasing it July 13th as our release date. So we're not very far off from that. I mean, truly excited about that. Yeah. Not very far off from that. But I think one trait, when I hear you ask the question, that I hope, and you know, I've heard people say this about me, and it makes me happy to hear this, is consistency. Right?
Nice.
Like I want people to know what they're gonna get from Chip Baker. Right. You know, like, man, oh man, he's money, he consistent. Right. And so I think that, of course, there's been growth from the first volume to volume 8. You know, with anything, reps make you better. And so hopefully I've continued to grow and be better. But the main thing is I just hope that they see the consistency in the power of greatness of what it is of the people, the information that they offer to help others, the things that people can take and actually apply in their life. Right. Like, it's not fluff. Like, I'm not just saying, hey guys, you know, we're writing chapters in the book. We have this book, try this. Like, nah, bro, like this is our life. Like, this is what we live. You know, like Adrian said, like, man, how long he's been in leadership? Oh, he's giving you game. Right. And so, you know, in the book, it's not just one person, it's 13 authors in this one. And so they're all giving you game to help you be better people. And so I think that consistency is the word that comes up for me.
Okay. All right. So, you know, Adrian, you're talking about consistency here. So I'm gonna stay on that topic. If you look in your life and you do your reflection as you wrote this, what was the one consistent thing you realized about yourself that, you know, it's called when you do self-reflecting and what you've been consistent on? And like myself, I'm a consistent person. I never quit. Doesn't matter if anybody doubts me, anybody doesn't believe in what I'm doing, or is anybody wonder, you know, wavers off the reservation at any time. And I use that term genetically, not towards Native Americans, please. I'm going to stay consistent in what I got to do and know that at the end, there's a rainbow and everybody gets paid. And the people that have stayed on my track have ended up getting paid on a lot of different things in my life. So what's that one thing that you realize in your life that's consistent, man?
Well, hey, my word is bond. And
that's a dying art, bro. That's a dying art. Let's be real.
You ask anybody, they will tell you, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. The guys that Chip and I share friendship with, that is the one thing they will consistently say. They work for me. I met them outside, and then I'll say, hey, if you come to Cal Farley's and work and do a good job, this is going to happen. And I believe, and that's a direct reflection. My parents taught us to honor our last name, you know, and that goes hand in hand with that. And so, you know, my word is bond and being predictable. Like, I'm not all over the place. My belief system is, you know, it could be, I challenge it a lot. I take information, but really once I set in on something, it's not going to go nowhere. And so I'm really predictable in how I speak. It's how I think, my concepts. And so it's easy to get around me because, hey, I'm not going to change and be shifty.
Right.
But
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
yeah,
Straight arrow, man. Straight
yeah, I'm
arrow.
straight arrow, and the older I get, the more I like it. So yeah,
I
yeah. So I think
agree.
it's just being consistent in how I
Yes,
apply
sir.
my decision making, consistent in how I live my life, my routines, the things that I say and do. I work 2 jobs. I don't have to, but I work 2 jobs. I work here at Cal Farley's as vice president,
Right.
and I also train dogs professionally. I've done that for 27 and a half years. I've been waking up at 5:30 in the morning and going and getting it. And so that's me. It's kind of hard to say because I like who I am. I've learned to love that part of me, the good parts and the bad parts. But if you're going to be in my space, I'm going to be me.
Right. I was talking to Mike G earlier about this, and I told him my grandfather brought this statement up. Anytime there's an opportunity to make money, you get money. And I don't turn down any opportunity. So like my side hustles are, if people really realize what my side hustles were, they wouldn't be like, where do you sleep? Well, like I say, when there's money to be made, I'll sleep after I make that money. And it's just because quality of life comes with hard work, right? Let's just be honest. I mean, and I'm a grinder on that. So, Chip, you picked so let me ask a question. How did you get to the point where you selected the individuals for the book? Because, Mike was talking about selecting guests for the show. And he goes, well, I reached out to this person. They didn't get back to me, or I'll reach out to the person. They don't get back to me.
Yeah.
So it's not always an easy trait getting, because first thing comes out of this generation is, what do I get out of it?
Yeah. I like that. I think the word that comes up for me is alignment, right? So if you'll think about this, I think all of the people that have been chosen or have been asked to be in the books, there's something that I've seen in them that I truly love about them, right? And that is, I think that they're in alignment with what I believe. They're good-hearted people. They go above and beyond to give service for others. They know that I'm just going to say it like it is. They know that it ain't about them, right? They know that it's bigger than them, and they just give service to help others. And man, it's awesome. I'm honored to be, first off, connected with them, but I'm honored also to be able to walk alongside them as we learn and grow together in life and strive and aspire to inspire. Right?
Like that, bro.
Come
like
on.
that.
And that's what we're striving to do, man. That's what it's all about, the impact of influence.
Hey, Mike, what you got, man?
So, Chip, I have a question now. So the book, you have different authors.
Yes,
How
sir.
did you put that together? I mean, that's I never, honestly, that's the first time I heard that shit. So you have different authors. That's crazy because so let's do this. Mr. Jackson, this is your first book, right? Your first.
Yes.
Okay. So look at that. How'd you do that? Like, how does that happen? Like, how do you get the pieces together?
Man, I don't know, Mike G. I'm still trying to figure that out, dog. No, no, man. Along this journey, like you guys know, as you're doing podcasts, as you live your life, as you give service, you come across people that's like, oh man, they good people. That's a good person right there. And organically, that's what it's been for me. I've been in education for 25 years. I speak, I coached for 20 of those years. I speak, I travel, podcasts. I come across lots of people and just, as I see, I just make those mental notes, man. I like what Adrian Jackson does. Oh man, it's phenomenal. I mean, like the things that he does to make a difference where he is, having the consistency, alignment, going above and beyond to help people, kids, alignment. Like those are all and that's just one example. So those are all things that I believe in. So now, like, man, like it's bigger than a book to me, right? Like, and don't get me wrong, like I'm grateful, man, to have the opportunity. but more to be in a book, have a book, bestsellers, that's awesome, right? But the biggest piece, and I think this is one of the things that I tell the authors when we, come together, I think the biggest thing that I've learned along the journey is that, man, I get to connect with some great people, and we get to have the opportunity to learn and walk beside each other and learn and grow together and make more of an impact on our world. Come on, man. I'm signing up for that every day.
Oh, Chip, I'm right there with you. I mean, every day you make an approach to, any situation. And I'm going to caveat on the part about relationships and networking. Here I said, and here's the thing is, anytime I coach youth football, I coach high school football, I coach one of the national teams, I travel. I look at everything I do as selfless service, and some of the things I do, there's no money attached to it.
Exactly.
But you know what I've never said? That's work.
That's it.
And and Adrian, you could piggyback on that if you'd like, but yeah, let's just talk about selfless service real quick.
That's what we do here, and my wife and I, we became house parents right out of college. I was 22 years old, and actually my degree is in business management and marketing. I was a college athlete. My wife's degree is in criminology and psychology. She went on and got her master's in counseling from West Texas A&M, where Chip went to school.
Oh, okay, all right.
And so,
does it still exist?
Yeah, I really never. Yeah,
I just say that jokingly because everybody keeps changing the name of school.
I know, right? Yeah.
They changed it right before we got there.
Yeah.
And so it's been no, really, real talk.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. So, I never really intended to do this. I was going to go work in finance or banking, and man, I just got pulled into serving these kids. And, we were 22 years old. My oldest kid was 18. So I'm just 4 years older than him. And then my oldest kid was in an adolescent boys home. And what I said then is I'm going to do it until the fun stops.
It's been going on, huh?
And the fun never stopped. But also, and this is a critical part of my chapter in the book, the volume 8 of the Impact and Influence. What I learned about leading people actually happened at Boys Ranch. This is the only major job I've ever had.
That's selfless service, brother. I mean, that's a blessing.
Yeah. But the other part to that has got a parallel street to this, because I was also a young father, and we teach about parenting. So not only did it help me be a child care professional, coming here helped me be a parent, a young parent. And it's the basis of how I parent, and the results of it is when you start pouring into people, you become a better person.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I owe a lot for Cal Farley's. And, I was born and raised in Lake Charles, Louisiana, come right out of the projects.
Yeah, I won for Bossier City, so I know.
Right? Okay,
Jackson,
right?
Yeah.
So, but I had some phenomenal parents, and the interesting thing is the people that I encountered when I left my parents' house, they actually built on the foundation that my parents set. And so, man, I've been so blessed in life, and Chip. He just another added part of that. I was writing my own book, and Chip says, "Hey, man, this might can help you with your own book." And he's 100% right. Like focus, mentality, but just knowing you got that support from another brother is huge. It's a huge thing, and we need to do more of that. Brothers need to support other brothers more than in today's day, more than ever, right? And the other part of that too is that the amount of great Black fathers that's in this circle is amazing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's something that we need to highlight and control the script more on.
All right, so I'm gonna let Mike get in here real quick, and we're gonna definitely get on DeAndre and find out how his impact on the book was. But you just brought up something that I don't want to move too far from, and that was you're talking about being minority father in today's world from a leadership standpoint, Chip. it's actually in the news every day right now, because it's the election year. But how do we, from a leadership standpoint, how do we get better at telling the next generation that it's time to step up instead of stepping out? You know?
Yeah, I think by example, those of you that have been around me, I'm not much of I'm an introverted guy. I'm a lay low, I don't need a lot of attention. I ain't saying a lot. I'm just chilling, right? That's just me. And I love that, right? And so for me, actions speak louder than words. Like I can show you all day better than I can tell you, right? And so I think it's important that we, by our example, show that. I mean, yes, it's important to say things, but if somebody can look at me and say, okay, these are the traits that he exhibit that I love about him, that I want to take and use those to help me be a better man, right? If I can do that every day, compassion, empathy, tone of voice, being real, open and honest, right? Being straightforward, not trying to take advantage of you. Like all of those things are traits that, like, man, if I can see that from others, and then I can take and use that to be a blessing. And so, man, those are just some of the things that come up for me as you ask that, Bugs.
Okay, no worries. Hey, Mike.
No, I'm just saying we have a new guest, Mr. Lacey. There we go.
Yes, sir. Lacey, DeAndre J.
How's it
Lacey.
going?
Welcome. We have a late drop it, no problem. That's what makes the show keep it entertaining.
Fatherly duties call, man.
Hey,
Yes, sir. We
Had to
just
go
talking
give my
about
son
that.
a
We just talking
prescription.
about that. Yes,
No,
sir.
And it was
that.
like,
Nothing wrong
dang,
with
this
that.
might make me late, but you know how it is.
But you here.
You got to
I'm
do
here,
that
I
every
made it.
time.
All right, so
Yeah.
DeAndre, what was your influence in the book? You wrote a chapter in the book, the influence, the impact of influence. My bad. You wrote a chapter in the book. What was your chapter about, and how did you come about getting there?
All I need is one mic, one stage. Shout out to Nas. I don't know. He thought hip hop is dead. He might have been on the song. We got to see. But that's the title of my chapter, One Mic, and how one opportunity to go on stage transformed my life, allowed me to discover my gift and realize that I did have talent. For many years, I did not think I did. And one thing I'm big on is your one thought, one belief, one action away, one connection from becoming who you're meant to become.
All right, so how did you and Chip end up collaborating on this?
This is good right here.
So around September, I was dissatisfied. I was frustrated with where I was in life. I have high expectations of myself. And, I just sat down and reflected upon what was the source of that angst. And one conclusion I came to as a result of this process is frustration is elevation in disguise.
It
And
is.
I harnessed the energy of that frustration and channeled it into my speaking career because I wasn't where I wanted to be. I had made some pretty good progress, but I knew there was more. And so one of the things I did around that time, the fall of 2023, I just started reaching out to places to speak, reaching out to people to be on podcasts. I literally typed Houston podcasters, came across Chip. He had a link. Hey, you want to be interviewed? Sign up. I'm like, I have no way of knowing if I even get picked, but the only shots you miss are the ones you don't take. I sent the link. At the time, I picked the date before me and my wife had planned a trip. And so we get to the trip and I'm like, dang, we're in a different city. It's out of my control. I'm scrambling, trying to find somewhere to go record. But we do the episode and there's just this synergy as if we knew each other before. And we realized we shared a lot of the same values. He connected me to his Impact of Influence speaker series. And then through that, he gave me the opportunity to be a part of the book. And he was like, man, let me, I'll let you get a few days to think about it. I said, I don't have to think about it. And that's the power of knowing your values. Your life becomes simple. Decisions become simple to make because, like he always says, be in alignment with your assignment. I always say alignment is greater than effort.
All right, but you said let me catch you. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I did
go
want to
ahead.
catch this because we're running out of time. But You said you were in a place where you thought you should be. And now I have daughters about your age probably right now. And I always have to remind them, when you look at your environment, it's not always the environment. Your perspective of an environment and understanding your environment are not the two same thing. And Chip was in education, and he understands that a lot of young people today, and since you're younger, I would like to say this, that they struggle. You think you're supposed to be a certain advantage point of where you're supposed to be, and I totally agree with that. But I always tell them that you got to look at the older generations. And we used to say you got to put the time to get the dime, baby. And so if you don't put the time in, you're not going to get the dime. So you're putting a lot of time now into what you're doing, and how's that working out for you now?
Thank you for that wisdom. I'm also curious. I am pretty confident in saying I'm probably the youngest one on here. But I also agree too that we confuse patience. Some people confuse patience with idleness.
Yes.
So it's a fine line. It's going great. From September till now, I've been booked the most I've ever been booked to speak. Getting this opportunity
Congrats.
to thank you, to be an author again twice over with Chip, because I've written a book before and people keep asking when you gonna write the next one. But it's like it's still so much I can get out of the first one, and I knew I wanted to take my time. So this gives a perfect transition with that. Being connected to this network he has, and just I just spoke twice this week, once on Sunday, once on last week on Wednesday. And so just putting yourself out there, you just sending cold emails, making cold calls, you're one connection away. And so this situation with Chip and everything that's happened the last few months has just reinforced that you gotta give yourself a chance by putting yourself out there, and great things will happen.
Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely. Hey, so Mike, what do you got, man?
No, once again, it's nice meeting you guys, and I've never heard a book written by different authors. That's a new one. I mean, that's new to me. And it's great the way it collaborates. And Chip, once again, you're doing your thing. Mr. Jackson, Lacey, you're doing your thing. And we got to do a part 2 of this and see how the book goes. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is the world premiere. This is not even out yet. It's like it's beforehand. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So you're getting the
Yes, sir.
information that is not even out yet. So we're kind of, promoting and promoting it hard. And it's great to have you have a team, a collaboration, different chapters, and it's been great. Nice seeing you guys and nice meeting you. Mr. Banks.
All right. So, hey, D, so if you have any words of advice to a young person right now if you could give in a short synopsis, what would you tell them?
My biggest advice is anything done in fear, you will regret. The safest choice is the most dangerous choice. Indecision is a decision, so take action. Don't let fear limit your beliefs, because your behavior is capped by your beliefs.
No, absolutely, man. I think so many people have creativity, but they're waiting on something to happen to make them be creative. And I always tell people, jump out there, be creative, do what you got to do, and the world will sort itself out. Yeah. Always check your ego at the door. I tell people, you got opportunities. And with that being said, Mr. Jackson, what you got?
Man, shoot, there's never a ceiling. There's never a ceiling. And I'm an example of that. Like many of you guys, it's all about, like Chip says, I rock with effort, effort and attitude. I'm an old athlete. And so, you got to actually also too surround yourself with people that build you up. Right.
Oh, absolutely.
And
you got to carry
who's in
the
your
load.
circle is important. I'm on this podcast today because who's in my circle?
Oh, you're absolutely right. And you said the key thing, man. It's a circle thing. Who's in your circle, and then understanding the circle. I think so many people get confused on where they're at in the circle and how they add to the circle. One thing I learned in the military that I love: if you take anything personal, you're never going to get ahead. That's the one thing I have to take away from the military. And my boss said that when I was a lieutenant. He goes, if you make it personal, then you're not going to make it too far in this business. He says, you just got to look at the strategic picture of we got to get to the Zen somehow. So everybody's got to take the hill at the same time. I appreciate that, Mr. Jackson. And Chip, as always, your closing remarks, my brother.
Yes, sir. So I'm just going to go with the title of my chapter in the book, and that's your ROI determines your ROI. And I'll break that down just a little bit, just in reflection of the life journey, some of the gems and nuggets that we've talked about on this interview that we've shared. Your radar of influence determines your return on your investment, and inversely, your return on your investment determines your radar of influence. And what I mean by that is all of us have invested things, effort, energy, learning lessons throughout our life, right? And because we've invested all of those things into it, our radar of influence has become better, right? It's allowed us to be around some amazing people. And then,
Right.
like I said, inversely, being around great people inspires you to invest more into it because you see the fruits of the labor from it, right? So for me, it's your ROI determines your ROI.
Oh, I agree, Chip. So, Chip, I'm going to ask you this real quick for you guys, since you brought that up, is how many people that you've worked with and collaborated got in your circle, and because they were impatient, and I'm going to take that one from Mr. Lacey, were impatient, they walked away from the circle realizing that now where they see it at now, they should have stayed in the circle. Have you experienced that?
Man, it gave me chills when you asked me that, because I don't really dwell on the negative or anything. I like to move on, learn from it, learn a lesson and move on, because the positive deserves the effort, right?
Yes.
But I remember exactly when I did the very first volume. There was a guy that I was connected with, pretty decent influencer, doing some amazing things, and I asked him if he wanted to be a part of the book, and he hung up on me and said he don't want to be a part of anything like that, right?
Wow.
Like hung up on me, right? And so like man, that kind of cut me to the core a little bit, because I'm not a person that is like get over on people. I want to explain the details so you have an idea to see what's going on. Like, I want to give you more than what you're expecting to get from me. Like, that's what I strive to do in every situation I'm in. So it came across like really rough for me, right? And and truth be told, man, it was like I had to go back to my home training on how to handle it. Right. Let's see what mom and them taught me. I had to go back to that. And fast forward, I saw the guy at a coaching convention. I mean, and he's a great guy doing great things. But I just think that at the time, people have things going on in their life and they don't understand. And he, came to me and like, hey, man, I want to commend you for what you've done with that. You're doing great things, and happy for you. And in the way, but like, I don't know, man, it was really tough for me at first, but it also makes me appreciate the fact, like, I got people in my life. That's one case, but I got people in my life, like DeAndre said, like, they ain't have to think about it. Right. He just said yes. Right. And man, like I'm appreciative to have people in my life that say yes. Right. Oh, man, and I'm grateful for that, man.
Yeah, I leave you guys with one good analogy. And when I was in Germany, back when I was a lieutenant, we had a little basketball games, and you could buy a sweepstakes ticket. And if you get your ticket number gets called, you get to shoot the ball. So I had this really good friend, and I think it was $1,000 was the winning prize. And I had a really good friend. I said, look, if we all put in the pot, we buy a large number of tickets, we could win. And I never remember, he gave me the Heisman. And he was like, there's no way, man, I'm not going to put my money in the pot. So like 3 of us put the money in the pot. We bought the tickets. Well, our number got called. Well, we ended up winning $1,000. And so he was like, well, do I get a cut? Because now we're all friends. We were like, no, when it was time to step up to the plate and put your $3 in the pot to buy a ticket, you didn't want to. And so I always reflect back on that decision he made. And I call it, I will never miss an opportunity for ego, pride, or prejudice. I am always going to try to be involved and figure out where I sit in that table, because it's like Yahoo. I could have bought stock in Yahoo back in the day, and boy, trust me, I kick myself every day. You know, hey
Yeah.
guys, thank you for coming on down here at the Rack Studios in Tampa, Florida, with me and Mike G. We had a great time talking to you guys about Chip's new book coming out soon. We'll be having it posted on there and letting everybody know when they get it when we finish the show with production. But with that being said, me and Mike G always said down here at the Rack Studios, keep it rolling.